What is up, guys? Argon29 here, bringing you guys another YouTube video. Before you guys put in the comment section, I know that the video quality isn't the greatest. It's because I'm having issues with OBS lately, and this is the PC version of Apex Legends, so I haven't really had a lot of time to mess with, the recording and Apex Legends and that to make it work better. I'm going to try some fixes a little bit later and see if I can't get any better footage. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Season 3 and the new hero Crypto. I think it's been about a week or two since Season 3 came out, and I kind of wanted to, wait, play for a little while and see if my opinion changed on it from when I first started playing it to, like a week later. And I gotta say, I like the new map. I like that it's a lot more open field. It definitely helps snipers out a bit more. There are some places, obviously, like the town that has like all the buildings and multiple stories to them. Not a fan of the multiple story buildings. I think that it's just, I don't know, it's kind of tedious to navigate them. And if you recall in season 1, there really wasn't a building with like multiple stories in it. So, kind of hit or miss on the buildings for certain areas. As for, like I said, the entire map itself, I enjoy the wide open areas. I like being able to snipe now. There's actually a lot of places you can snipe from, whereas in Season 1 it was really hard to, get a good spot to snipe from. Usually every circle, for the most part, at the end has the ability to let you use all gun types, and I think that's really healthy for the game. The big changes were, I think, to Gibraltar. I think he was the big winner here from Season 3. His alt charge rate went from, I think, what was it, 4.5 minutes to 3 minutes, and that's really big. And then they also decreased how long his alt lasts, and I think they increased how fast it comes out. I'm not sure if it's bugged or not, because it seems like I don't get as many kills with it like I used to. So I don't know if because it's happening so fast that maybe it's bugging out and not hitting people as much as what it would normally with the original alt. It's just how it kind of feels to me. Like there's times where I would throw the alt, and in season 1 I would get like 2 or 3 kills because they're right in the impact zone. And then there's times now where that doesn't happen. I don't get those kills anymore. I get hit markers, yes, and I break armor, but it doesn't do any more damage to them. So I don't know if they have an issue there or not. Let's see, who else got buffed? Bangalore did get buffed as well. I noticed her alt's pretty strong too now. Her alt kind of reminds me a little bit of Gibraltar's alt from Season 1 and 2, where in terms of damage, because my cousin plays a lot of Bangalore, and he tends to knock a lot of people now with the Creeping Barrage if they stand in it, which I think is pretty cool. She definitely needed something. Her alt really didn't feel all that impactful. It was more to create space, and in most cases, it would actually mess her teammates up more than anything else, because you would get hit, you'd get the aftershock stuff on your screen where you can't run and it's all blurry. Not to mention the smoke cloud the missiles all create. So it was almost more of like a blessing for the enemy, because you couldn't actually, hone in on one person that got hit by the Creeping Barrage and deal damage to them because you couldn't see them in most cases. I think giving it that damage boost is really, really effective for her now. Trying to think who else got a big buff this season. I can't really think of any other winners in terms of the legends offhand. I know Pathfinder got a little bit of a nerf, both on his alt and his regular zipline. So I don't really think there's any other winners right now. As for guns, I like that they're finally upping the damage on the G7 Scout. The Scout was already really good in my opinion, but to get that extra 6 damage I think is really big, because on criticals you're getting an extra 12 damage per headshot. And I'm pretty sure it does add up to one less, bullet to kill against purple armor, I would imagine. Not to mention that they gave it the new hop-up double tap. I think that's really huge as well. I'm glad that they're working with other guns, and as well as the Ava. I haven't had a chance to use double tap on Ava, weirdly enough. I've had the Ava a couple times. Every time I get it, I just can't seem to find double tap, or if I find double tap, I can't seem to find an Ava. So I don't know what the drop rate is for certain areas, but yeah, they did remove the the Skull Piercer from the longbow. I was a little sad to see that go. I mean, first, because it was a rare attachment anyway. You're not going to find it every match. But I am glad they at least buffed both the wingman and the longbow to compensate for this. The buffs that they gave were that whenever you get a headshot with the wingman or the longbow, you basically get half of what the Skull Piercer used to give for headshot damage. So they're still viable weapons. They're still really good. I'm glad to see, even though they're removing hop-ups, they are willing to go back and readjust the guns to balance them out a bit better. So that way, they're still not weak. It was sad to also see the alternator lose its, disruptor rounds. That used to break shields pretty quick. I didn't really see a buff for the alternator, so I'm a little disappointed there that we didn't get anything more to help the alternator out, because the whole point is that the R99 was so much more superior than the alternator, and that's why they gave it the disruptor rounds as far as I'm aware. They did nerf the R99. They took one bullet out of the magazine at all like mags, and to me it's kind of noticeable because the R99 fires quick. So if you have one less bullet, you're definitely going to notice it with how fast that gun fires. I've heard talk to some of my friends and they said that they didn't really notice it, but to me it feels like you basically hold down the trigger for like half a second and you're out of ammo already, whereas before it wasn't like that. I smacked that dude right in the side of his head. Crabber's fun too. I like the Crabber. But yeah, so the R99 kind of lost. The alternator really didn't get anything after losing what it lost. My favorite gun so far, I like the charge rifle. I think that's the new gun, or that is the new gun rather, and it's really powerful. You just hold the beam on them for like half a second and they just melt. It's pretty disgusting. There was games on the PS4 where I was just sitting up in one of the towers because the zone kind of came in that way, and I was zapping both teams for well over 100 damage if you hit them in the head. Honestly, I'll be shocked if that doesn't get hotfixed or nerfed within the next couple weeks. Then again, they don't really keep up with patches, so hard to say. But as for guns, I definitely like the R301 still. I think that's a really dominant gun. Like I said, the R99 is still okay. Kind of gotten away from the alternator a bit since they removed the one hop up for it. I like the G7 Scout now. The Hemlock's okay, which I'm using here. I still struggle with it because I'm not used to like 3-burst guns. I struggle with those for some reason. Except for in Call of Duty, which is the only game where I don't typically struggle with them, which is weird. I'm guessing it's because they're hit scan and I don't have to, account for bullet drop with the 3 bursts. So, but yeah, as for everything else so far this season, I'm definitely enjoying it. The game definitely feels renewed and refreshed. I remember playing Fortnite for a couple seasons and I just didn't really enjoy it. I don't know, they just didn't make it feel refreshing, I guess, every season. I know they made like little micro map changes, but this is like a whole new map altogether. I do wish at some point they would bring back the other maps so you could have a choice about which map you're playing on. I think that would be a pretty cool idea. Yeah, this is me using a shield battery in the most inopportune time. I thought the Pathfinder was still there waiting for that dude to jump up and he wasn't. So, I'm out here still making stupid mistakes just like in Season 1 and Season 2. So don't worry. As for Crypto, I think he is a little overpowered. And I mean that in the nicest way. Like, having the ability to have constant surveillance up in a certain zone, especially because you can actually hide it like underneath building walls and stuff so they can't see you. And then the drone just keeps picking people up. And you can also leave it in a spot, hide it like in a room or something, and then chase people towards that room or try to, cage them in. And then once you cage them in, you can drop the EMP in the room and it detonates and hits them, and then you just rush them. There's a lot of things you can do with Crypto's drone. It has a lot of utility right now. Like, it also detonates caustic barrels if you get too close. So if you know somebody's playing caustic, you could actually set off all their traps on their teammates if they're like, stacked around a corner or something, and they're planning on like walking away from the barrel as soon as they hear you coming. Instead, what you can do is you just pop the barrel on them, have your teammates go in when the gas is going, because they're going to be in it. The enemy team usually will probably be in it, and they're going to be blinded, and they're not going to be able to see you, and your team can just mow them down. And the caustic barrel has now blinded his teammates through no fault of his own, since the Crypto drone is able to detonate them. I don't know. I just think the Crypto drone has a lot of utility, and it being destroyed only goes on a 40-second cooldown, which I don't think is really that big of a punishment for the utility it gives you. And not to mention, like, every other basic ability in the game is basically on a 20 to 30 second cooldown anyway. I think most are 20. I think Gibraltar's shield might be 30 now with the nerf. But he got more buffs than nerfs, so he definitely benefited more from it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to see maybe some type of hotfix come down for Crypto that, prevents it from detonating objects. I'm fine with it opening doors, because otherwise it wouldn't be able to, scout areas effectively. I'm okay with that. I just don't think it should be setting off caustic barrels. That kind of is a little overpowered in my opinion. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on Crypto. Hopefully he gets something that prevents him from doing that. I think that's really it for winners, losers for Season 3. And my thoughts on the new season. The only other thing I can talk about is there's a clip I have, which I'll put up here in a second, where I took a balloon up, and I actually managed to get stuck in one of the environments, and I got told to return to battlefield in one of the towers, and I couldn't return to battlefield because for some reason I couldn't move up or down, but I could slide left or right up against the wall. And every time I'd hit spacebar to try to climb up the wall, I couldn't interact with it to mantle it. So I'm hoping that maybe we get a hot fix for that as well, where you can interact with things that have you return to the battlefield so you can still mantle them and get out of there and get down to the ground and not die because you accidentally messed up your balloon drop. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of quick. I wanted to do something for a YouTube video and I just didn't have anything yesterday, and it's been a rough weekend. So I decided to just do an Apex Legends Season 3 review for you guys who still check out Apex Legends. I think what I might do next video is talk about League of Legends and talk about whether or not Flash should be removed from the game. Anyway, with that out of the way, guys, let me know down below what you guys think of the Apex Legends Season 3. If you guys agree with me, if you think I'm wrong, if you think they need to add more hop-ups or bring back the old hop-ups that got removed from the game, like disruptor rounds, stuff like that. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.